so, I am Wendy Wisdom, and I am a self-love advocate. And so, all of my messages are geared towards um, equipping people with tools and strategies to push past their self-perceived limitations in order to have a better relationship with themselves and others. Okay? And so, I wanted to talk about anger because I noticed that a lot of people are dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. They got different things going on. And so I just wanted to come to you to encourage you this evening and talk about anger really briefly. And so, what is anger, guys? Anger may be different to everybody because anger does show up differently in various people. And so, my definition of anger is a basic emotion or feeling that's indicating to you that a boundary or expectation that you have has been um, has been crossed. Okay, so anger is a feeling or emotion that's indicating to you that one of your boundaries or expectations has been crossed. And so, a lot of times when we don't pay attention to what anger is present to show us, sometimes we fall prey to reacting. We don't give ourselves time to really process and think from a more rational place where we give ourselves time to calm down, process what happened before responding. You don't want to react. When you're reacting, that means the other person has control over your emotions at the time. And when we react, which is normally what a lot of people do, somebody violates you, disrespects you, somebody cuts you off in traffic, we beeping the horn, we screaming, calling them a name, flipping them the bird, all those things. And so, and a lot of times the way we react, it is not in proportion to what actually happened. So if somebody cuts you off, you don't need to follow them for the next 5 minutes on the beltway because they done cut you off. That is not, no, something else is going on. Something else is upsetting you. Something else has happened because you don't need to follow somebody for 5 minutes on the beltway because they cut you off. Something else is happening. So that's why I say anger is indicating to you something, okay? That's for you to know what that something is. It's either trying to redirect you to pay attention to your mess or give you a message. I think it's a little bit of both, okay? And so how does anger show up in your life? You have to be clear about how does anger show up and what is it that happens when you feel angered, okay? Like what makes you angry? Being disrespected, being lied to. Only you know what triggers anger in you. I know for me, being lied to, not so much, but for me, I would say being lied on. Being lied on is definitely a trigger for me. Because I'm a real honest person, real blunt, straightforward person. You ain't never got to lie on me. It's not even that serious. So you have to know what is your boundary. You have to know what triggers you. You have to know what upsets you and what gets to you. Because if you are not aware of what triggers you, then anybody could come having a bad day and tick you off and upset you. You're a weak link if you're not aware of what upsets you and what triggers you. So you have to be aware of what gets under your skin, what angers you. And you have to be clear about how is it showing up for you. Some people, when they're angry, they shut down. They don't talk. They curse. They'll block somebody on social media, block them on their phone. You said being disrespected is your trigger. Yeah, that's a trigger for a lot of people. And so the thing is, we have to be cognizant or aware of when I'm disrespected, how do I need to respond? Plan it out. Think about it, guys. Because I'm sure you've had experiences where you felt disrespected or whatever that trigger was, and you reacted, and then you had to think about, like, dag, I could have responded a little better. Or this person wasn't even worth me cursing them out. Some people not even worth the energy. Some people are really not worth the energy. So that's what I'm saying. Think it out. Think in your mind better ways to respond. Again, you don't want to be a reactor. If you're reacting to everything somebody does or says to you, you are a weak link. That means that your emotions are open. That means you have no control of yourself and your emotions. Anybody can trigger you, distract you, throw you off by poking and provoking you. You don't want to be that person who's reacting. You want to be a responder, okay? All right. And so, anger, there are studies that show that anger, if it sits in your body too long and you don't release it, that's what I'm saying. Think about positive and effective ways to deal with your anger, the things that frustrate you, the things that stress you, because if you're not aware of those things, it can come out the wrong way, or you may just bottle it up. And there are studies that show that when anger sits in the body too long, it causes stress, it causes depression, it causes physical ailments. Some people have heart trouble, migraines, people have sleep issues, eating challenges, or, increased appetite. So these things are very serious. And so a lot of times when you see a person who's angry, that means that there's fear. There's some fear. There's something that they fear that they may not be aware of, or they may just fear being looked at as a punk, being looked at as soft. If I let this person disrespect me, then other people are going to think that they can disrespect me. So again, get clear about why it angers you the way it does. And so the other part is, what is the anger there for? Is it there for you to look at your mess? Or is it there to give you a message? Again, I think it's a mixture of both. When I say mess meaning what around you is causing you to be as angry as you are. Because this day and age, we see kids being killed, road rage, people losing jobs because they flipping out. Their boss has said one too many of the wrong things, and they're like, you know what? Today's the day I'm cursing this person out and clearing my own desk. So I don't want you to be that person. I don't want you to have a full meltdown and lose your cool when you could have just thought about it beforehand, or be aware that this person triggers me. So I'm going to possibly think about some music, count to 10, say a silent prayer when they're talking. Think about it beforehand so you're not caught off guard by the person who likes to poke and provoke you, okay? Also, being easily offended, the ways to cope. I'm going to give you 3 quick ways and then I'm out of here. So I want you to, 1, be aware of what makes you easily offended. Like I said, if it's anger, being disrespected, be aware of it. Also, when you're easily offended, that means you're flowing in ego. You're not flowing in love. You're not flowing in the ability and capacity to manage your emotions properly. You are flowing in ego. You have your mindset on how things should be. I want it this way. This or that should not happen. You're not Jesus, so get off of your high horse and know that you can't control everything and everybody, okay? Take some of the stress off of yourself. The other thing is to take a deep breath and think before you respond to the trigger, to the frustration, to the stress. Write, plan some things down. Do whatever you have to do. Pray if you have to. But I'm going to need you to get something in your spirit that calms you down, gets you to think for a second. Call a friend, call your lover, call your husband, your wife. Do whatever you have to do before responding to a trigger. You want to respond, you don't want to react, okay? And the last thing, you have to forgive often and forgive quickly. Forgive often and forgive quickly. Forgiving somebody who has angered or upset you or hurt you or disappoint you does not mean you're letting them off the hook. That means you're releasing that stress out of you. Because when you hold on to a grudge or you hold on to some anger, yes, people hurt you. Yes, it takes time. I'm not saying you'll get over it tonight. But what I am saying is, don't let that be a burden on your spirit. Don't let that thing sit there, parked, living in your mind, rent-free, stressing you out. You're mad at everything and everybody the next day because of this one situation, when you just need to put it in perspective. This person, okay, I may need a little break from them because they're toxic or they drain the life out of me. Those are honest things you need to be aware of. And again, forgive them because they don't know no better. Even if they do, forgive them. But forgive yourself also for entertaining or allowing it to trigger you the way it did. And um, set some boundaries so that that person or situation does not cross your boundary. But you're going to have to communicate with that person. If this happens, and I'm telling you, I do not like when this happens. If it happens again, I'm not going to be able to communicate with you, or I'm going to have to end the relationship, friendship, or whatever the case may be, or we're going to have to just communicate with each other strictly business. If it's a coworker, sometimes you got to put people in their place, even at work. So set your boundary and stick to it. Period. Okay. So just to run off those three coping strategies again. The first one, stop being easily offended. Check your ego and know what it is that you want. Okay. The second thing is take a deep breath before responding. You don't want to react to triggers. You don't want to react to somebody who's trying to poke and provoke you and get a rise out of you. You want to be a little more in control of your emotions because there are some miserable people who will poke and provoke you. You'll have co-workers, bosses, people at the damn coffee shop that's going to try to butt in line because they feel like they got to get to work. Don't allow these non-factors to trigger you and bring you out of your character so easily, okay? And the third thing, forgive often and forgive quickly. Again, that's not letting them off the hook. That's getting that anger and frustration out of you because, as I said, research shows that keeping anger, sadness, stress in your body and mind too long causes physical breakdown to your body, to your mind, and to your spirit. People are having severe health conditions because they may look healthy on the outside, but they are on more medication. They got more stress. I mean, let me knock on wood right now. I know of people they eat organic, they ain't eat meat in 15 years, look well, toned up, exercise every day. They're on more medication than you can count. I'm not even on medication. They're on medication. And you would think because, I'm overweight. No, they are physically fit on the outside, but are on medications. They're stressed. They don't know how to handle their emotions, but they look good on the outside though. But crazy as batshit on the inside. Anyway, guys, so that's my rant. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Again, every Monday and Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m., I will have a new topic. Please leave me ideas on topics to touch on. Again, I'm self-love advocate, so I'll be pushing and challenging you. Even talking about anger, this is a way of loving yourself by being aware of your triggers, being aware of how to respond positively so that people are not controlling and bullying you by playing with your emotions all day. Okay? Even in relationships, you need to be aware of your emotions. You need to be aware of what triggers you. You need to be aware of how to set a boundary and stick to the boundary. So all of it is a form of self-love. Because if you don't know yourself and you don't know your boundaries, no wonder why people are playing with your time and emotions. If you don't know you, how you expect somebody else to know you? If you don't set boundaries, why should anybody respect you? They should poke and provoke you and play with your time. You don't want that, okay? So I'm here to encourage you to do it different. Reset. That's what we're going to do. Reset how we've been doing things. We'll leave the former ways behind us and look forward and create some new ways and strategies on how to navigate this thing called life. Anyway, guys, that is it. Thank you all for joining me. Toodles. Until next time. Oh, hello, therapist Wendy. Hey, Miss Fletcher. Thank you for joining. All right, guys. So the replay will be up because I'm sure I was just running my mouth, which I love to do. All right, guys. Toodles.